everybody, just wanted to join you to show you the full Fergie collection for Wet n Wild. Fergie is the global ambassador for the brand, and as a little beauty ambassador blogger type here, I was able to get that full collection to review for you and just show you, so maybe you have an idea of what to look out for, or maybe things you don't want to try when you see the collection in your stores. There's a lot of new stuff in this collection. There are highlighters and eyeshadow palettes and lipsticks and cream eyeliners, eyeshadow base, mascara, so I'm going to go through everything for you in this video. Also, Wet n Wild, just in the regular line, has some new things, including a new foundation and a new powder. That'll be in a separate video, some of the other new updated products for the line. This is just going to be about the Fergie stuff. First thing I'm going to talk about are the lipsticks. There are 10 new lipsticks in this Fergie line. It's called Perfect Pout Lip Color. It really reminds me of kind of a cross between the Wet n Wild Mega Last, which they have, you know, these long-wearing lipsticks. A lot of them were matte finish lipsticks. And then they had Mega Shield, which is with a little more moisturizing. This is somewhere in between. I feel like there's more moisture content in these than the Mega Last, and they don't all have like a super matte finish. Some are creamy, some have a little bit of shimmer. The one I'm wearing right now, as you can see, it's got almost a little like bluish undertone metallic to it. So I'm going to start off by showing you my favorites out of these 10, and I have 4 favorites. And I'll show you the rest as well. But the one I have on today that I love so much and I think is kind of unique is called Fuchsianista. It is just a great fuchsia magenta pink, and like I said, as you look at it, it has almost like a blue toned shimmer. I love that for a bright lip color. And one little tip here, these can be really difficult to close if you don't do it right. There is a little like F on the top of here. Make sure the F is facing forward and it meets up with the notch on the front there. If you try to close it any other way, it will be really hard to close and then get open again. I also love this really deep color called Divinely Chilled, and it reminds me of a deep color that Rimmel had a while back called Metallic Seduction, and it is a little bit metallic. It has some sparkle in there, but it's like a really, really nice deep wine type color. There's a great vivid red in this collection, and it's called Saraghina, and it is your classic red with kind of a bluish undertone. There's another one, I prefer this one on me, but there's another one with more of that orangey undertone to it as well. Very bold, just full-on color with all of these. At the same time, there's a nice subtle nude shade. There's not a lot of that in this collection, but there is one called Fergie Daily, and I do really like this shade for a nude lip. I can put it all over. I can use a lip liner to maybe make my, you know, the outsides a little bit deeper, as I like to do, to create some dimension with the lip. Throw a gloss on top of it if you want to, but like I said, these have just a very subtle amount of shine. We're not talking like a lip butter would have, but they're creamier than some of the other Wet n Wild lipsticks. So those are my faves, but I will walk you through the rest. We've got VI Pink, which is kind of a pink with a little bit of a lilac tone to it. A little bit deeper pink called Penthouse Sweet, which is another pink with a little bit of a purple tone, but it's deeper than the one I just mentioned. That little bit orangey toned red is called Old School Glam, and it is kind of like that old Hollywood red lip. There is another little bit deeper neutral than the Fergie's Daily color. It's got a little more of like a brownish tone, and it's called Bebot, B-B-O-T. B-E-B-O-T, Love, Bebot Love. I don't know if that's some Fergie lingo I don't know about, but this is just kind of a deep neutral. And then 2 really dark shades. One is Ferguson Crest Cabernet, and here is a really dark wine color with, instead of the burgundy influence, it's got more of a purple tone in there. And then there's an all-out black, y'all. If you want a black, you've got it. It's called Pagan Angel, and so that's a totally black lipstick. There's something called a shimmer palette in this collection, and there are 3 of them. The lightest one is called Rose Champagne Glow. Then you've got one that's a little bit deeper and incorporates, I feel like it comes off a little more orangey, and it's called Rose Golden Goddess. and another one that's more of your bronze look, and it's called Carnival in Rio, and it looks like that. So there's a swatch of each of them. The Rose Champagne is there, the Rose Gold is in the middle, and the Carnival in Rio is right there. Other than this one, which I think serves as like a classic highlight that you can put on your cheekbones and it's light enough to really highlight with, this is the one I would reach for the most, although I don't find it specifically to be anything outstanding. I'm really a fan of the Reserve Your Cabana from the Wet n Wild just regular line. It's one of those highlights that just has barely any shimmer in it, and it just is very, very flattering, and it doesn't draw attention to pores and things like that. This one's nice, it's pretty shimmery, it's still usable. These other two, to me, are just kind of like shimmery bronzers, basically, and I don't love a ton of shimmer in my bronzers most of the time, unless I was going to use these like kind of as an all-over like body product on the décolleté or something like that. Overall, not seeing these as a total must-have though. Fergie does have an eyeshadow base, which I thought was interesting because Wet n Wild does not have an eyeshadow primer, and I've been wearing this the last few days. It's in kind of like a squeeze tube format, and it just has that light kind of skin-toned color that many of the primers out there have, whether it's your Urban Decay Primer Potion or Too Faced Shadow Insurance. It blends in and it remains to have like just the slightest bit of a, I don't want to say tacky feel, but there's a little moisture you can still feel there. And I feel like when I use it in conjunction with the shadows, it really does grab the shadows and makes them more intense than they would be without this primer. So it's good in that respect, and I do think it helps the staying power. I mean, I've looked at my eyes at the end of a day and I've been like, okay, I feel like the shadow has not moved. But it reminds me a little bit of the texture of Too Faced Shadow Insurance. But I'm definitely a fan of this. I think it works well. I'm glad Wet n Wild has now come out with an eyeshadow primer. There are a couple of cream eyeliners in the line as well. They're called On Edge Cream Liner. There is a black and a brown, and they each come with their own little brushes. They're actually not teeny tiny brushes. It's about the size of a normal brush, kind of a small flat brush, and I've used this along with the liner, and it works pretty well. In terms of texture and staying power, this reminds me of the liner that Wet n Wild already has in their regular line. I have it in just the black color. Really amazing staying power. You can absolutely wash your hands with, even with some soap, and it may not go anywhere if you don't scrub very hard. I just wanted to point that out because if you already have one of those liners and you're thinking, oh, I want to pick this up in case it's something special and different, it really seems like the same liner Wet n Wild already has, although they do have the brown. The brown is a nice kind of rich chocolatey brown. If you're looking for that, I don't think they have a brown in the regular Wet n Wild line. So you got black or brown. I really think these are fantastic cream liners for the staying power and how well they go on, so thumbs up for those. Fergie came out with a mascara. It's the Turn Up the Volume mascara, and I'll show you the brush here. It's kind of a thick, sort of large brush. It's got long bristles on the top and bottom. You can see it's kind of, you know, a little bit more flat there, but then there's those longer bristles, and it's got kind of a gentle curve to it. This didn't clump very much on me, but the length that it built was kind of minimal. If your lashes are kind of sparse like mine and you feel like they could use a lot more length and a lot more thickness, this didn't provide a whole lot of that. It gave just kind of a natural but still clump-free look. Now we're going to get into the eyeshadows. There are 4 different eyeshadow palettes in this collection. As a whole, pretty happy with them, I gotta say. One that I'm wearing today, just a couple of the more neutral shades in it, is this one called Metropolitan Nights. And I know Fergie had some boxed sets come out, and she had one that looked really familiar to this. It's a different formula. I didn't really like this, and this is different from this, so I just thought it was necessary to make that known. The deep colors in all these palettes are so rich, and a lot of them have some sparkle. I mean, these are some blinged out kind of palettes. Fergie is known for, you know, some kind of over-the-top looks sometimes, so don't think that these are going to be your supernatural matte palettes, because they are not. This does have a great matte shade right here in the center, a matte black, but you've got kind of a sparkly gold, gold, sparkly white, this sort of neutral taupe kind of color, and then a sparkly black down here. While some shades in these palettes I feel like really mimic the same texture of the Wet n Wild Color Icon palettes, which I love so much, there are some shades where I feel like, it's kind of hit and miss. You know, it wasn't quite as strong with the texture or the pigment involved. For example, this shade here. So this palette, while, you know, I really love the richness of the deep shades, I'm not like over the top, like this is a must-have. If you really like a good colorful palette, I was wearing this one the other day and I was really impressed with how bold these colors were. With this palette, I mean, we've got that matte gray in there, and then you've got a little bit of like a satiny finish on the rest. The purple, again, was not super bold, and I had trouble making that show up on my eyes. So it's one of those a little bit hit and miss. You know, I love this intense blue and this teal, the gray, but the purple was a little bit of a weakness there. And if you like purple, you know, you want the purple to show up. If those deep smoky shades are something you're looking for, I wore this one called Dutchess Lounge on New Year's Eve, and I really liked the look I got. One thing to keep in mind is like this shade looks super dark, but once you start blending it out on your eye, it doesn't quite have that intense sparkle that it has in here. So if you're thinking, wow, that looks really unique, it's going to be amazing on my eye, it's going to be, once you put it on with a brush and blend it out a little bit, it's not going to have quite that kind of intensity. It's still going to be super dark and pigmented, but it's not going to look just like that. I love this kind of plummy color up here, the silver. The purple is kind of like the purple here. I mean, it's like the exact same tone. This feels softer to me. I mean, I could be crazy, but this one feels just like a little more of a better texture to it. I like this palette overall. I think it's really great for someone wanting a deep, dark purple eye. Another palette from this collection that I like, especially if you're wanting kind of more warm tones in your look. This is called Desert Festival, and you're getting kind of like a peachy coral, a really deep, intense coral, a matte brown, and these two shades are kind of more matte. I've got a light kind of nude shade right here, and sort of a deeper, I'm holding this really crazy, a deeper brown with a little bit of sparkle. I think this could be a pretty palette now. It could also be a great summer palette if you choose to really play up the coral shades. So overall, I just really prefer these two. Still, where drugstore eyeshadows are concerned, I feel like these are overall pretty good quality, just a little more hit and miss, and I feel like Wet n Wild has given us a pretty high standard with their color icon palettes. There are pretty much no dud shades in there, and with these two, you know, maybe there were one or two shades where I was kind of like, what happened with that color? As a whole, I'm glad Wet n Wild came out with this collection. I think there's some really fun colors, both in the lipsticks and the eyeshadows. I don't think everything is a total must-have. I mean, I think some of those lipstick shades are gorgeous and definitely worth trying. A couple of those eyeshadow palettes are nice. They make a great base. The eyeliners, too, are really good. If you haven't tried Wet n Wild's cream liners, maybe try the Fergie line. The highlighters, these shimmer powders, I was kind of not too thrilled about, and also not too thrilled over the mascara. But like I said, keep an eye out for more Wet n Wild videos featuring this new foundation and powder and some other new products that they have come out with. So thank you so much, guys, for watching, and I'll see you next time.